Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, we all know big money is spent in the Premier League, and half the time it's just ridiculous. Surely there must be a reason why clubs desperately overpay big money for players. Let's take a look at every Premier League club's current record signing and see what their best ever individual performance was before they got that big money move. Alright, let's go. Arsenal, Nicolas Pepe versus PSG 2019. You would think, considering Arsenal, a club usually allergic to stretching the purse strings, just spent over £70 million on one player last summer, that he must have done something to catch the eye the previous season. The answer is, oh god, yes. Not only did Nicolas Pepe smash home 23 goals and record 11 assists for Lille last season, let's take a look at his home performance against PSG in April 2019. The lad scored 1, assisted twice as Lille ran out 5-1 winners. I'm sorry, but PSG are a club who chuck around cash as if it's confetti at a wedding. I thought the days of 5-goal humiliations were gone. But no, on a pitch consisting of Marco Verratti, Julian Draxler and Kylian Mbappe, Pepe outshone every last one, tearing PSG's defence to shreds. Aston Villa, Wesley versus Monaco 2018. But considering Wesley is 23 years old with an almost teenage son, I'm guessing his best performance was in the bedroom at 14 years of age. But if we're talking strictly football, then I'd say the reason Aston Villa drastically overpaid for this man, 24 million really, was because of games like this. Leading the line in the Champions League at just 21 years of age, Wesley bangs home the third goal from 20 yards to put Bruges 3-0 up at Monaco, Champions League semi-finalists just 1 year earlier, as the Belgians eventually ran out 4-0 winners. And listen, I know I've slagged him off, I know I've probably compared him to a 15-stone lump of cement rotting away in the Villa treatment room on their way to relegation, but I must extend my sincere thank you to Wesley for inflicting this heavy dose of humiliation upon Thierry Henry. Thanks, Wes! Bournemouth, Jefferson Lerma versus Real Madrid 2017. Thank Christ Dominic Solanke isn't Bournemouth's record signing, or I'd have to sit through hours of youth football. And I think spending my free time watching minors online is more a specialty of Stephen Try's. But Jefferson Lerma is the club record £24 million signing from Levante. I would imagine it was in September 2017 when newly promoted Levante grabbed a point at a 1-1 draw at the Santiago Bernabeu, holding his own against a midfield consisting of World Cup winners. You're damn right Lerma gets a pat on the back. But is this really the reality of the world we live in, where leaving the Bernabeu undefeated earns you moves to Bournemouth? Brighton, Adam Webster versus Sheffield United 2018. Adam Webster was a £20 million purchase from Bristol City. Let's see, I suppose he did keep a clean sheet in a 1-0 win over Sheffield United back in September 2018. Considering Sheffield United went on to finish second that season, scoring 78 goals along the way, I'm guessing that was seen as one of Webster's finer games. Burnley, Ben Gibson versus Man United 2015. Yeah lads, once upon a time Ben Gibson was a highly rated prospect, as opposed to nowadays where he's seen his career stuffed down the back of the couch at Burnley. Go back to October 2015 though, when Championship side Middlesbrough travelled to Old Trafford in the League Cup. Not only did Gibson keep a clean sheet, shutting out the likes of Memphis Depay, Anthony Martial and Wayne Rooney, he also left the ground a hero, scoring the winning spot kick in the penalty shootout. And now, just a £15 million dud. Chelsea, Kepa versus Real Madrid 2017. With Kepa, considering he was only first choice goalie at Athletic Bilbao for 18 months, I don't really have much to work with. Let's go for December 2017. Relegation threatened Bilbao, hold Real Madrid to a 0-0 draw at home. To be fair, he was helped out by the fact that both Karim Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo hit the post, but still, Madrid had 19 shots, not one of them went in. So yeah, not bad, Kepa. Although if you told me this Bilbao newbie would go on to cost £70 million in the summer, good Christ! Crystal Palace, Christian Benteke versus Sunderland 2013. Yeah, Christian Benteke was once a worthwhile striker. Not so much at Liverpool, but Aston Villa. The man has single-handedly ended the relevancy of Darren Bent, who at the time was a proven Premier League goal scorer. Best game for Benteke, it has to be during his debut season for Aston Villa, when he banged in a second-half hat-trick as Villa absolutely blitzed Sunderland 6-1. Back in April 2013. This was probably the game which broke Di Canio. Everton, Gylfi Sigurdsson versus Man United 2014. Listen, while at Swansea, Gylfi Sigurdsson was one of the most underrated players in the league. When he eventually forced through a £50 million move to Everton, Daniel Levy probably needed to lie down after chucking him out of Spurs like a wet paper bag. Sigurdsson's best game was back in August 2014. The previous year, David Moyes had begun his Manchester United reign with a 4-1 win against Swansea. Louis van Gaal was now beginning his by getting turned over by the Swans 2-1 at home. Sigurdsson set up the first before curling home the winner to prove to the watching world that no, the club had much bigger problems than David Moyes. It was actually United's first opening day defeat since 1972. And as for Swansea, first ever league win at Old Trafford. Leicester, Yuri Tielemans versus Leipzig 2017. Let's be honest, 40 million man Yuri Tielemans has played the best stuff of his career at Leicester. I could dig up his performances at Anderlecht, but really, look at the standard of Belgian football. I know Tielemans didn't exactly set the world alight at Monaco, but still, he did grab an equaliser in a Champions League 1-1 draw at RB Leipzig back in September 2017. By all accounts, I guess that was a decent performance. Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk versus Liverpool 2017. January 2017, the first leg of the EFL Cup semi-final. Southampton beat Liverpool by 1-0, with the man of the match, Virgil van Dijk, turning in a heroic performance to deny the attacking threats from Philip Coutinho, Daniel Sturridge and Roberto Firmino. Within less than a year, Liverpool were chucking the kitchen sink to get this man in their defence. Considering they were forced to line up for this cup semi-final with a defensive duo of Dejan Lovren and Ragnar Klavan, you can probably understand why. Man City, Rodri versus Juventus 2019. Again, like Kepa, Rodri didn't have too many seasons in Spain before that big money move to Man City. I'm gonna say his best game was marshalling the midfield in a 2-0 Champions League round of 16 first leg win over Juventus last season. Sure, Atletico Madrid saw only 37% of the ball, but still, Rodri was the defensive linchpin in midfield that prevented the likes of Paulo Dybala, Mario Mandzukic and Cristiano Ronaldo from coming within a whisk of a goal. Just a shame they got stomach punched in the second leg. Man United, Paul Pogba versus Sassuolo 2015. Here's a game many of you will have forgotten ever took place. But lads, March 2015, the much hyped Paul Pogba steps forward to volley home a stunning strike from outside the box to break stubborn Sassuolo's resolve, helping Juventus to a 1-0 win, which pushed them 11 points clear at the top of the Serie A table. This is what happens when you actually play Pogba on the left side of a midfield three, i.e. his natural goddamn position. The man can actually prove to be a bit of a goal-scoring threat. Unlike at Man United, where if he's not waddling up to take a penalty, looking like a constipated goat, then he's rarely coming within a sniff of the goal. Newcastle, Joelinton versus Genk 2016. Oh, Joelinton. Big £40 million waste of space Joelinton. You want me to dig into the archives for a half-decent performance from him? To be fair, he must have had a few at Hoffenheim to trick anyone into paying more than half a bag of crisps for him, never mind 40 million. And let's not forget, he did step off the bench to grab a last-minute equaliser in a 3-3 draw against Lyon in the Champions League group stage. Christ, Joelinton playing Champions League football. Even having that badge stamped on his sleeve almost makes a mockery of the tournament. He did score a hat-trick in a cup game against Kaiserslautern, but big deal, that club are stuffed down the German third tier. Instead, I'm going to go for his loan spell at Rapid Vienna, where he scored in a 3-2 Europa League group stage win over Genk. Considering the visitors lined up with Wilfred Ndidi, Leon Bailey and Wabana Samata, that was actually quite a decent Genk team. So well done, Joelinton. Maybe you're not completely useless. Norwich, Stephen Naismith versus Chelsea 2015. Okay, being honest lads, Norwich have two club record signings. Both Ricky van Wolfswinkel and Stephen Naismith. They both cost £8.5 million each. I'm going to go with Stephen Naismith for this one because the answer is quite obvious. A Scottish football with limited to no ability, and yet in September 2015 stepped off the bench to fire a hat-trick past champions Chelsea in a 3-1 win. It's nearly half a decade later and I'm still wondering, did that actually happen? Sheffield United, Sander Berg versus Liverpool 2019. I don't have much to work with here. I guess when Genk visited Anfield in the Champions League earlier this season, Sander Berg held his own. Yeah, I know the Belgians lost 2-1, but he looked quite decent and found himself linked with a few big teams. And then he ends up with £22 million signing for Sheffield United. Southampton, Danny Ings versus Stoke 2014. Alright, Mr. £20 million man Danny Ings. To be fair, most of his best career performances have come this season, but I'm gonna dig nearly 6 years into the past to find a youthful Danny Ings, where he still looked like a bastard 40-year-old, arriving at Stoke City with bottom place Burnley back in November 2014. Christ, Sean Dyche was fighting a losing battle against relegation. The last thing he needed was a trip to bloody Stoke, but Ings springs into life, scores 2 in 2 minutes, as Burnley record their first away win and move up to 18th. I mean, they still got relegated, but still. Tottenham, Tanguy Ndombele versus Man City 2018. Okay, so for those of you who don't watch French football, which is most of you, I'm presuming, considering it's a one-horse race, you're probably wondering what Tanguy Ndombele ever did to warrant a £60 million move to Spurs. Simply put, it was the entire of Lyon's Champions League run last season, but more specifically, their opening day 2-1 win at the Etihad. It was a real surprise result. City had just run away with the league title with 100 goddamn points. They were heavily tipped to finally win the Champions League, and then they started the European season by losing at home to a French team that wasn't PSG. Mental. Anyway, Ndombele was where the midfield battle was won and lost. It reminds me a bit of when Timu Bakayoko impressed against Man City, before going on to stink out the place following a big money move to London. Watford, Ismaila Sarr versus Arsenal 2019. Okay, let's be honest, the greatest performance of Ismaila Sarr's short career came last week, when he came within inches of a hat-trick against Liverpool. But we're talking games prior to his £30 million move to Watford, so let's go back to the French League with Rennes. First leg of a Europa League quarter-final, Rennes record a famous 3-1 win over Arsenal, with Sarr tormenting the Gunners' defence. To be fair, that's not particularly hard, and capped off a fine display with the third goal. Because of this, the man suddenly found himself linked with moves to Barcelona. He got Watford instead. West Ham, Sebastian Haller versus Eintracht Frankfurt 2018. Again, considering West Ham forked out 40 million on Sebastian Haller before he's even been given a French cap, you would assume he was ripping up the Bundesliga with Eintracht Frankfurt. Listen, he was decent, 20 goals last season, but he was massively outshadowed by his teammate Luka Jovic. His best game, probably barring home 2 goals in a 4-1 win against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Europa League round of 32. Wolves, Raul Jimenez versus Bayern Munich 2016. Right, Raul Jimenez, £30 million star for Wolves. His best performance before that, and you can't go wrong with the Champions League. Bayern Munich had won the first leg 1-0 in Germany, so then Benfica take the lead through Jimenez's early header to level a tie and give the Portuguese hope. The man caused Pep Guardiola's side problems all night, but yeah, the game ended 2-2 and Bayern went through.
And with that said, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.